Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshatarine Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Jaya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Jaya Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Vrindavana Dham Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Vrindavana Dham Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Chanda Nitai Gaura Chanda Gaura Hari Jaya Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Go Premanandi, Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Parivrajachaka Stotra Satish Divine Grace, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Parivrajachaka Stotra Satish Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Srila Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vranda Ki Jai. Namachara Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Shri Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Purushottam Kshetra Jagannath Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Maiya Ki Jai. Yamuna Maiya Ki Jai. Bhakti Shiromani Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Prabhupada Transcendental Book and Prasad Distribution Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Dham Houston Ki Jai. Jai Go Premanande. All glories to Assembly. All glories to Assembly. All glories to Assembly. All glories to all glories to all glories to Guru and Gauranga.
Maybe in the drawer. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaranari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopigana Vallabha Girivaradari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaranari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopigana Vallabha Girivaradari.
Yashodanandana Bhajajanaranja Yamuna Tiravanachari.
Yashodanandana Bhajajanaranja Yamuna Tiravanachari.
Yashodanandana Bhajajanaranja Yamuna Yashodanandana Vajajanarandana Yamunatilavanachari Yashodanandana Vajajanarandana Yamunatilavanachari Yamunatilavanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giridhari Jaya Radha Nila Madhava Nila Madhava Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Chanda Nitai Gaur Chanda Gaurani Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Astatatar Shata Sri Sriman's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya. Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatyam Vyasam. Tato Jayamudiraye. Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke. Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading today from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 83, Text 37 and 38. This chapter is entitled Draupadi Meets the Queens of Krishna. So 38 is on the board, so first I'll chant 37 and then we'll do 38 together. 37. Pitame pujayam asa suritsam bandi bandhavan mahar vaso lankarai sayasana parichadai. This is the Queen of Krishna, Lakshmana, still speaking. My father honored his friends, family, and in-laws with priceless clothing and jewelry, and with royal beds, thrones, and other furnishings. 38. So chant together. Dasi bi sarva sampadbir. Bate ba rata vajibi. Ayudani maharani. Dado purnasya bhaktita. Dashibi sarva sampadbir. Bate bhakrata vajibi. Ayudani maharani. Dado purnasya bhaktitaha. Dashivi sarva sampadbir. Bate bhakrata vajibi. Ayudani maharani. Dado purnasya bhaktitaha. Dashivi sarva sampadbir. Dasi be, along with maidservants. Sarva, all. Sambad be, endowed with riches. Bata, with infantry soldiers. Ibha, soldiers riding elephants. Rata, soldiers riding chariots. Vajibi, and soldiers riding horses. Ayudani, weapons. Maharani, extremely valuable. Dado, he gave. Purnasya, to the perfectly complete Lord. Bhaktitaha, out of devotion. Translation, and then the purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. With devotion, he, as Lakshmana's father, presented the perfectly complete Lord with a number of maidservants bedecked with precious ornaments. Accompanying these maidservants were guards walking on foot, and others riding elephants, chariots, and horses. He also gave the Lord extremely valuable weapons. Purport. Supreme Lord is Purna, perfect and complete in himself. He requires nothing for his satisfaction. Knowing this, a pure devotee makes offerings to the Lord only out of love, bhakti tataha, with no expectation of material profit. On his part, the Lord happily accepts even a small gift of flowers, tulsi leaves, and water when it has been offered in love. Omanjana Tivanandasya Gananjana Shalataya Chakshu Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakada Mayam Tadati Swavanantigam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarane Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Shrimate Tamam Krishna Goswami Niti Namane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is the last part of a kind of a long glorification of, or explanation by the queen of Krishna named Lakshmana of how she ended up being married to Krishna. This setting is in Kurukshetra, where there was an eclipse. It was considered auspicious to gather in Kurukshetra and perform religious activities. So the Yadus and so many other kings and personalities came to Kurukshetra and offered a unique opportunity for the gopis and residents of Vrindavan to interact with Krishna and also with devotees from Dwarka and other places. It was a very nice gathering. Sometimes we have events in Krishna consciousness, a big festival where devotees come from different places, and you can associate with devotees you usually don't associate with. Or we may host at our temple some event, a kirtan retreat or some GBC meeting, or we had the Shastric Advisory meeting. It brings different devotees you wouldn't ordinarily get to hear from or associate with or serve. So this is a very special situation coming together in Kurukshetra. And it's kind of humorous how, although most of the queens that Draupadi asked, how did you end up getting married to Krishna? So various queens were explaining how this happened. And it came out to many of them, like Rukmini and Jambavati and Mitravinda and others, they all gave very short descriptions. Like Rukmini had a wonderful marriage to Krishna with so many beautiful details, which are described earlier in the 10th canto, but she summarized it in one verse, I believe. So all these queens told the beautiful story of how they married Krishna in one or two verses. But Lakshmana, she went more than 20-something verses. So she kind of got carried away. Remind me of, sometimes there's a Vyasa Puja offering, and they say nobody can talk more than 3 minutes. So some people are right on 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes, and someone starts speaking, they go for a half an hour. So they have to. So somehow she didn't probably plan to talk so long, but once she started remembering how she ended up getting married to Krishna, she kind of got into an ecstatic trance and lost track of time and circumstance. So this is actually Krishna consciousness. We want to forget a lot of things and just remember Krishna. So she was remembering Krishna, and it was an innocent mistake. And the last verse, which I didn't read, that she says, I'll read it tomorrow, but it mentions that she kind of realized she went on a tangent about her own situation of marrying Krishna, so then she speaks on behalf of all the queens, kind of wraps up the queens' stories by saying that we all the queens, renounced material association and became maidservants of Krishna. Even though it's described here that Lakshmana's father supplied so many maidservants and guards and elephants and weapons and things like that to the father-in-law. To Krishna from the father-in-law. Even though they offered so many maidservants, the queens themselves are in the mood of maidservants. So what's nice is that there's kind of an innocent mood. There's not an envious mood between the queens. They all are so happy that they got to marry Krishna, so they feel very blessed. And so they're happy to share this information with Draupadi. And they're not competing. It doesn't seem like Lakshmana wanted to outshine the other queen, so that's why she spoke so long. It's just an innocent happening. So this idea of non-enviousness in the last chapter, when when Devaki and And Vasudeva saw Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. It was described how they weren't envious when they saw Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, but they actually went up to them and said, "It's so nice that you took care of Krishna in Vrindavan for so long with such love and care." So they weren't envious either. They were very appreciative. So if you really love someone, you're just happy that they're taken care of or happy. You don't think that you have to do everything yourself. If someone loves the deities, they may enjoy dressing them sometimes, and they do their best to dress them nicely, but if they see someone dress them very nicely also the next day, when they don't dress the deities, they're happy. Or if we're distributing books, we see another devotee distribute a book to a nice person, so we feel happy also. Because we feel a special happiness if we get to distribute a book, which is natural. We may feel a little extra kind of pleasure. But when we see anyone get a book and take that step towards Krishna consciousness, we're happy. This is the nature of devotional service. In the very beginning of the Bhagavatam, it stresses the importance of non-enviousness, dharma pujita kaitava parmo nirmatsaranam satam. So nirmatsaranam basically means non-envy, being not envious or pure-hearted. So the Bhagavatam itself is meant for those who are non-envious, who want to serve Krishna. Of course, not everyone is, even people who are in spiritual life, they don't all have the same degree of non-enviousness. But it's described in the Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam Tapatrayon Mulanam. Shri Shiva Nilamadava Ki. So the Bhagavatam is actually the incarnation of Krishna, and it's described that it's Shivadam, it's all auspicious, and it's Tapatrayan Mulanam. It uproots, Mulanam, Mula means root, so it uproots the Tapa, the Trayan, Tapatraya, the threefold miseries of material existence. So, if we give the Bhagavatam or a book expressing the message of the Bhagavatam to someone, we're helping them, we're giving them the medicine to overcome the threefold miseries of material existence. So we might be at a college, and there may be someone studying to be a doctor doing their courses for pre-med, and they may be a doctor and want to help patients, and they want to. They may be in it to make a good living, but they may also like to help people. Or someone may be an education major; they want to be a teacher, so they want to help young people learn. So there's so many subjects that students can study in college, and someone may want to become a dentist. So these are all things that help people's health or their body or mind. So we will study psychology and want to help people who have mental problems. So there's so many things that they can learn, but they can't learn how to get out of the tapatraya, the threefold miseries of material existence. So that's the special role of the devotee. So if we are not envious ourselves, we'll be more humble and tolerant and be better vehicles for giving this very powerful knowledge to these students who what they're studying is not as important. Somebody can be a doctor, but they can't stop the patients from getting old age disease and dying. Like my wife's a doctor, but she often says, oh yeah, one of my patients died today, and one of my patients, I had to tell them that their illness is terminal. So even though a doctor tries to help people, that help is limited. Psychologists may try to help people, but it's limited. A teacher of material subjects may be a great teacher, but they can't teach their students how to overcome birth and death and old age and disease. So to the degree that we're humble servants, non-envious, we can give this message of devotional service. Now, there's a special quality of Prabhupada that he was very fired up, very serious to give this knowledge. Of course, he was serious to become Krishna conscious himself. So he served his Guru Maharaj. After asking some question about the relevance of Krishna consciousness, then later Prabhupada only asked, how can I serve you, to his spiritual master? So he really just wanted to be a servant. And that was his great success. And he felt a great urgency. There were so many godbrothers in the Gaudiya Math who had the same and similar instructions as Prabhupada to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada might have gotten the order to preach in English because he already spoke English fairly well. Others got orders to spread Krishna consciousness in India, and some of them that spoke English, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati told them to go to England and different places. And they made efforts to succeed in spreading Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada was especially serious. He took the order as his life and soul. So in that same verse, I noticed when I looked up this first verse in the Bhagavatam, the last line, Sadhyavidya varujate tra kritibi shushushavi tachanat. Sadhyo translated as at once. So at once this message of Bhagavatam, which brings Ishvara, Krishna, Supreme Controller, establishes him in the heart, Vidhi Avarujyate, by culture of Krishna consciousness, Shushuvi. So the first word of the last line of the first verse in the Bhagavatam, first word, sadhya, means at once, right away. And the last words of that fourth line, tachanat, which means without delay. So Prabhupada was quite old when he came to the West. He knew he could pass away at any time, so he was very serious about doing everything at once that could be done for Krishna, spreading Krishna consciousness, and without delay. So sometimes we don't have that same seriousness. Like we see, even in our community here, we have some devotees that, one of the devotees had her heart, she had a heart surgery and the heart stopped. So they had to shock it to go back and start going again. They put a pacemaker in her heart. So she came so close to not living any longer. I've heard she's home now. But I'm sure that she became very serious about Krishna consciousness before she went to the hospital for the surgery. And my wife's father is quite ill, and some of his relatives have come, and so I'm sure that he's becoming more serious in Krishna consciousness. Of course, he was always quite serious. But when certain things happen, these things are supposed to help us become more surrendered. But reflecting on my own self, I'm not getting any younger, as none of us are. I see these things happening all around me. But I still, in many ways, don't take Krishna consciousness as seriously as I should, or as it deserves to be taken. So that we should always remember that there's a certain aspect of life that's unpredictable. So Prabhupada often said, if something is auspicious, do it now. If something is not as auspicious, you can delay it a little bit. So it's nice that some younger devotees have gotten the opportunity to study Krishna consciousness, and they've decided to give some priority. While you're young, you can learn, do more physical active service. Your mind is generally more alert. So it's nice that some young devotees are seriously studying Krishna consciousness. It's ironic that when you get older, then you have your kids and they have grandkids. So you start to live, you feel a kind of material happiness, which is very natural in seeing your grandkids. You kind of live through your kids, and then when you see that your kids have grandkids, you're kind of living through the grandkids. So you kind of, even though you're getting close to death yourself, you start thinking, well, life is not so bad. I've got my kids and my grandkids. And my wife's father has his great-grandkids. Like Krishna Kripa's, his son-in-law, and he had 2 kids, and both of Krishna Kripa's kids have had children. So you feel, there's this sense that, well, somehow I'm living on through my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids. Or there may be some other thing, like I grew up involved in sports. So I've lived in Houston long enough, so when one of the Houston teams is going for the championship, I kind of check the scores and hope they win the World Series or and then one day when the Astros won a game, I could hardly walk to the temple, but I'm feeling kind of happy because they won the game. So I was not taking my material situation as serious just because I'm taking shelter of some material thing like a sports team or and even devotees. Like I heard that in Bangladesh when they had the World Cup, where Germany is, Bangladesh has many devotees from different countries in Europe, from Holland and Germany and Spain. So when their team is playing, and Spain is playing Germany, and there's a German devotee in the temple and a Spanish devotee, they're both, they can't help but rooting for their team. There's still a material identification, and it happens very gradually, but very sneakily. You live in Houston long enough and you start identifying with Houston. And, we identify with some material thing. If we have an African American body, we naturally identify with so many things related to that culture. And it's natural, but the Bhagavatam is teaching that we have to go deeper than this. We have to, if we really want to be a real human being, we're spirit soul first, and then we're from Virginia or Indiana or Mumbai or Madras. And when you're Krishna conscious, you start to realize that the body doesn't matter. It's the Krishna conscious activities of the devotees. And so one thing I wanted to mention was when we meet, Vishal was saying yesterday something about how it's nice to have, when you meet a really nice person, to get their contact and then maybe take a personal interest in them. When I was first coming to Krishna consciousness, I passed through the Miami airport, and I was actually trying to avoid becoming a Hare Krishna, so I went on one trip to sort of, my real purpose was to get out of Los Angeles because I was afraid I was going to become a Hare Krishna devotee. So I met a devotee at the Miami airport, and even though I'm trying to avoid devotees, as soon as I saw the devotee, I said, "Wow, Hare Krishna." And this devotee gave me she showed me several books, but I had bought all the books already. So then she had the latest Back to Godhead magazine. So I gave a donation and got the magazine. Then she took my address where I was going to be. I was traveling to El Salvador. She took my address and she mailed me the next month the Back to Godhead. And not only that, but she had she put a manila envelope, she put some Mahaprashadam, a thin bar of peanut brittle made from sugarcane, fresh sugarcane that grew on the property of where the Miami temple was at that time. So there's a lot of bhakti in the prasadam. And the Back to Godhead was 1 year after Prabhupada left the planet. It was in honor of Prabhupada. So I'm still reading about Prabhupada, and I put I made a little altar. There was a picture of Prabhupada, and I put the Back to Godhead magazine, kind of leaned it in such a way that it would stay open. Maybe I put something underneath of it. And in this room there was down pillows, pillows that have feathers in them. Not so common now, but So I remember that on this little altar there was, Prabhupada was on a little table, and the sun came into the room and kind of was going right near Prabhupada and kind of lighting up. I thought it was kind of far out. And then a feather floated from in the air. It floated and it went kind of towards the sunlight, and then it fell right at Prabhupada's feet. So I was thinking, I'm trying to not become a Hare Krishna, but these devotees are so nice. So actually, someone becomes a devotee mostly by the mercy of a devotee. So I don't really believe I would become a devotee without this devotee's mercy. Then later I came back to California, and this devotee mailed me another magazine. So sometimes if we meet a really nice person, we get their information, we go a little extra, give them a little extra association, or go a little inconvenience. It may really change their situation, because the Madhurya Kanambini is a scripture by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It explains that bhakti comes mainly from the heart of a bhakta, from a devotee. And then Krishna, when he sees that this devotee is trying to help another devotee, then he says, okay, I'll give a little extra mercy to that person. So Vishal just said something like, we should, take contacts a little more seriously and things like that. And just to finish what this devotee did, 1 month, she started sending me back to God every month. It used to come out once a month. Now it comes out every 2 months. So 1 month I didn't get the Back to Godhead. Shishivala Nilamadava Ki. So, because I was getting the Back to Godhead, I thought I don't really have to go to the temple. So I can be kind of a closet devotee. I can be a devotee of Krishna, but I won't have to really surrender to Krishna like the Hare Krishnas do. So the magazine didn't come, so I decided to go to the temple. And that's when they said Tamal Krishna is going to give the Sunday feast. Then I stayed for a few days actually at the temple, and I had a misunderstanding. I went home. I thought, I'm very confused. I really liked this Tamal Krishna Maharaj, but I was wanting to speak to him personally, and he said he would talk to me, but it never happened. So it turns out about 2 days after I came away from the temple to my parents' house, the package from this devotee showed up, and she said, I know you're into some kind of yoga and meditation, and we have a tape library at our temple here in Miami, and I found one tape about one of our sannyasis speaking to 2 transcendental meditation teachers, and I had been a transcendental meditation teacher myself. So she included this audio tape in the package, and then I checked it out, and it was from the Dallas Tape Ministry of Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And I was wanting to talk to him in the temple, but it never happened. He said, I'll talk to you. So I was all confused, and then this tape came in the mail. So it's just amazing how this devotee went to quite an extra length to help me come closer to Krishna consciousness. So, so that means that she was taking Krishna consciousness very seriously herself. She was, I'm sure she had a lot of services to do at the temple. And I believe one of her services was to actually follow up on people that she or different devotees had met. So, but she was taking Krishna consciousness very seriously, and she was very merciful. We chant Vanchakalpa Tribhyascha Kripasindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. So the devotees fulfill the desires of everyone. So a real desire when we get rid of all our material coverings is to be a servant of Krishna. So the devotee pierces through all the coverings and helps someone else come closer to Krishna. So I think we get into here. Anyone have any comments or questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, thank you for class. I just wanted to make a comment on what you were just talking about, that taking that personal interest in people, how it can be a really, really nice way to emphasize the loving relationships that are available in Krishna consciousness. And not that I have much experience with it, but from listening to what you're saying, I was reflecting on some experiences on book distribution and how just I'll sometimes be in a really, really just bad mood or a bad mental state, feeling really, really absorbed in like bodily consciousness, thinking like mental stuff, feeling a lot of anxiety and distress. And then when I go out on books and I speak to people, I'm just speaking to them about Krishna, and we're talking about things that are completely amazing and just the actual beautiful transcendental reality that exists beyond my own self-absorbed, I guess, habits. And then I actually feel, I guess, much more connection with another person. And then even if I do end up taking their number and I speak to them later, invite them to the temple, it's just it's a really nice way to get out of the mind and a way to really bring others to Krishna as well. And yeah, that's just something that reminded me of what you were saying.
It has to be kind of cultivated, because we have our limitations, and I'm saying this to myself too, because I'm not always very sociable, so a lot of times a nice personal calm. We have other duties or priorities, so we can't always talk to everyone, but we just keep in mind that principle. There's always an exception to the rule, like generally you don't want to talk to someone too long on book distribution, but every once in a while there may be a special person who is deserving of that extra attention. So you have to kind of, gauge things and taking that into consideration. But, I just use that personal example to try to make that point clear, because Krishna will fulfill our desires. So if we desire just to distribute the book, but not, and that's all, it's less likely that if we have a little more holistic, but anything in Krishna consciousness is great, Like in sports, you hit a single, that's good. If you hit a home run, that's better. If you try to hit a home run all the time, might strike out a lot. So sometimes you just hit a single, you give it to somebody a piece of prasadam or a flyer and a nice invitation card to a program, and that's the best that you can do, and that's the best that person can do. And some other times you feel some inspiration to say a little bit more, or just ask the person some question about what is their goal in life. Something, there used to be a devotee when I joined in Dallas, Rajendra Nandana. He was famous for, he wasn't the biggest book reader, but he knew the Bhagavad Gita really well, so he'd say to the student, what's your major? Someone said, I'm a psych major, psychology. Then he'd find a verse in the Bhagavad Gita about the mind or psychology. Said this book, he'd read the verse for them. He had about 20 verses that he had studied that related to different majors in school or whatever. And he would connect people. And he was kind of known in the Dallas temple because he would quite frequently, every couple of weeks, he'd bring someone back that he met on book excursions straight to the temple for prasadam. So when I joined in Dallas, I'd been doing meditation for 9 years, so I asked if I was going to spend 1 month in Krishna consciousness to see how I liked it. I told them every day I'll meditate a little less and chant a little more, and then I'll make a gradual transition. So after a few days, he was kind of a bhakta leader also, unofficially. And he didn't know that I had this arrangement with the temple president that I would do the meditation and gradually tail off. So one time I went to do my meditation, and he was almost crying. He was so unhappy. This guy's coming to the temple to Krishna consciousness. He's still doing his bogus yoga. So he started crying. And so I just stopped right then my meditation. Just, because he was such a nice devotee. So he was he still is a beautiful person. And in later years, sometimes we had vans of book readers that would go to rock concerts. And to support his family, he wasn't distributing books, but he had neck beads and sometimes other things like bumper stickers. But he was happy to see the book distributors. So one time, at a concert in Randall's Island, New York, some drunk kids in their car, they hit this book distributor over the head with a bottle or something. And the book distributor had to go to the hospital. So this Rajendra Nandana, he spent all night in the hospital with the devotee. He wasn't distributing books at that particular event, but he was so good-hearted. So sometimes the devotee is a very good, nice person that can change the heart of a person also. It can really. And some of the early disciples of Prabhupada, besides all his great knowledge, they just appreciated Prabhupada's love and care for them and his dedication and his qualities. Okay, thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki.